Riverside.
Are we back?
We're back with another one, puppy.
Hope the microphone's on.
It's on, baby. It's on.
Okay.
You know what else is on? Movie award season.
Movie award season.
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
We had the Golden Globes recently. Tomorrow, January 24th, they're announcing the nominees for the Oscars, which is going to be in March. So they thought, hey, it's movie award season. Here's your Grammy. Or what is it, an Oscar? An Oscar. Sass. Blowing up over.
Telemarketer's blowing me up.
Yeah, that's
right,
right,
now.
man. They found you.
They called me 5 times during class. Yeah.
So, on the theme of movies, I asked this the other day. If somebody were to play you in a movie, what actor would it be? We were talking about this, and the majority said Mario Lopez would play you.
And you asked everybody in the department.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, who'd be Nick? Who would be Nick in who would portray him?
Yeah.
And they said a combination of Mario Lopez and like Cheech Marin, but my favorite one was Minnie Lopez. Said, hey, who would play Nick in a movie?
Minnie said this?
And Minnie said, oh, that's easy. He said, Hervé Villachez.
I was like, who?
Hervé Villachez. I'm like, who is that?
Yeah, so better known as
The guy on Fantasy Island back in the day.
Tattoo.
This guy.
Yeah. So that was a great answer. That was
So
caught me off guard. He
That would
said,
be a
who?
good one.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it. But
Yeah.
majority went with Mario Lopez. Yeah.
Huh.
But who would play me?
I like that. Didn't Pete say Channing Tatum? I like that one. Whoever it is, they got to be light skinned.
Yeah.
They got to be light skinned. So
Which Channing Tatum? The one in.
the stripper.
Oh God.
Yeah, definitely a stripper.
Not the 21 Jump Street. My name is Jeff. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
I like that one. I'll take it.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a movie award season. Best movie of the year. I think they haven't announced it, but they're saying like Top Gun will be one of them. And one I just saw, I mentioned this to you before. It's legit. I've never seen a movie like it. It was weird, but it was awesome. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
That's what
Everything.
the movie title is?
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
That reminds me of the title
Legit.
that Jim Carrey was in. Something's
Eternal
Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's a long title.
Yeah, but this one is legit. Like
Well, the
you
fact
have
that
to
you
watch it.
memorized it.
Yeah. Well, the supporting actor won an award recently on the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes is the TV and movie awards.
Yeah.
And you know who the supporting actor is? It's the guy from Indiana Jones. The kid.
Wait. Who's the main actor?
The actress, the main character is the lady who was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Crazy Rich Asians. I can't remember that one, but she also won Best Actress, I think, and she was legit. I'm telling you, that movie's gonna win the
All right.
Oscars.
What was her, for
Just put in everything, everywhere. I heard it. Boom, all at once. Michelle Yeoh. That.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, legit, dude.
Got it.
She was badass.
Okay.
And then the kid who was in Indiana Jones and Goonies, Data, $50 bill. $50 bill. That kid.
damn.
Yeah, that's him, dude.
I was just watching
That's
this weekend,
him.
and I
Yeah.
was telling my wife, yeah, he's coming out in a...
Jamie Lee Curtis, she comes out.
Wait, is this the thing you were telling me? You sent the video clip of it? The
I sent you
preview,
the trailer, yeah.
Oh, like they're
It's like,
excited about
it's
this.
wild. Like, it's all over, but
The
but
alternate multiple universes, alternate universes. What's the concept?
something like that. There's
Yeah.
like multiple universes in one or whatever,
Yeah.
but I predict that movie is gonna win a lot of stuff. So look out for it. I definitely highly recommend that one.
Never heard of it, but I'm
Check it
excited
out,
about
dude. Check it out.
It's already out.
Oh yeah, it's already came out in theaters like in March or something like that. But
Yeah.
I just watched it recently, so I figured it's movie award season. We've done Mount Rushmores before. In the classroom, I've had my students do their own Mount Rushmores of music albums, and they had fun with it, whatever. So I might do something like that again. But why don't we get into it? Mount Rushmore, but actors. And I have my actresses list set aside maybe for another day. And that one, it's so tough to do because you only have 4, right? And so we didn't set criteria for each other. We didn't really, say, oh, it has to be this genre or what. But mine was basically on what I grew up watching.
Yeah, that's the hardest part is picking, like, what criteria you're going to judge this on. So whenever I brought this up to people, that's what people are saying. Well, what are you going to judge it on? You're going to judge it on Oscars? You're going to judge it on what? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to judge it the same way that I judge albums. And I know Ryan Jeffries had a problem with that. And I was like, well, the only criteria is our own criteria. So we're going to put that in the comments section, right? Feel free to comment and share your Mount Rushmore, right?
It's yours.
Yeah.
You set yours.
There's no wrong answer. It's yours.
It's yours.
So we picked ours.
We picked ours, and we didn't even I didn't look at yours, and you didn't look at mine.
No.
And then when we finally came together and put it together, we're like, oh, dang.
So 1, 2, 3, go.
And
I think
3 of the 4 were the same.
Yeah.
So your 4th and my 4th are different, but the first 3 are the same. I was like, okay, so we have a similar taste.
Yeah.
But again, it was so, especially with because I wanted to include a comedy. I have to.
I was on the same page because comedians are never put up for best actors.
Yeah.
But you have to have talent. I mean, not only to act.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people just move you in a variety of ways.
And it was hard to leave certain people out. I grew up in the 90s watching 90s movies, so I didn't have them on my list, but I got to give a special little... I wore my shirt today. One of my favorite movies ever.
Did you hyperlink these?
Yeah, I did.
That's so pretty. Oh,
so
yeah.
He's not on my list, but Jim Carrey, because one of my favorite movies is...
Well, that one was amazing.
Dumb and Dumber.
That one was absolutely amazing.
So I gotta wear my Dumb and Dumber shirt today, but he's not on my list. So let's go ahead and start with the first one. We both had the same one.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore of actors. Let's talk about it. We both share the same one. So Will Ferrell. It was hard because, again, I grew up with Jim Carrey. Robin Williams is also a beast. He's a goat in itself. But talk about why you chose Will Ferrell.
Well, first off, again, I wanted to include a comedian, and I was trying to think which is a comedian that always literally just throws me off, has me laughing out loud, literally laughing out loud. And there's a few of these out there, right? And you could throw in stand-ups, but this isn't a stand-up. That's a whole other Mount Rushmore.
He does not do stand-up.
He does not do stand-up. Yeah. So every time I see him, though, just his, it must be crazy. For example, he went to USC, right? So you went to Arizona State. I went to San Diego State, and I used to think to myself whenever I'm watching Will Ferrell movies, this guy Will Ferrell went to USC, and I'm thinking to be anywhere around partying with this guy, it must have been just insane. And I've heard stories about in SNL, off camera, of people messing with him and his ability to stay in character. Just as far as ad libbing and
fun fact.
Yeah,
he went to USC, right?
Yeah.
He actually studied sports broadcasting. But he switched to comedy. I guess he was ad-libbing something in one of the sports shows they had, and they found it interesting and funny that his ability to just kind of use his humor to fill in some gaps, and that's kind of where he said, you know what, I'm gonna go into comedy.
And
so, but what's your favorite Will Ferrell character?
To me, there's a few really good ones, but to me, the signature one, if I want to show people, all right, there's Will Ferrell, and that's Anchorman, right? You were talking about you're watching this other movie, right? You were watching the other guys with with
Mark Wahlberg.
With Mark Wahlberg. Yeah. That one was absolutely incredible.
And it's funny because in that character, they're both cops, right? And he's kind of more like a desk
nerdy
type of guy.
And
he's not trying to be funny in that movie. He's trying to be very serious, very very conservative, go by the book. But man, he's so funny because he has like this alter ego, Gator, right?
Yeah.
Gator's in there, and so if you ever seen the movie The Other Guys, he just switches his modes right there. But like for me, one of my favorite characters has to be Frank from Old School.
Yeah,
that's kind of like
that's one of
classic
I'm trying to think.
Will
That's
Ferrell.
one of his earliest
Yeah, it's one of his earlier ones. But
movies. SNL was the first thing.
Then, and I think for me, the fact that he did SNL and like the characters he had in SNL, you know, doing the cowbell scene, that skit was gold.
There's certain SNL characters where you could just put like go on YouTube and put their name in, like Will Ferrell SNL. With like
Alex
that,
Trebek.
and you could see just continuous Will Ferrell clips. There's a few legends like that where I could just watch over and over. Eddie Murphy, you know, he's another one, absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But Will Ferrell is just, I mean, what's his name? Oh man, he died of a speedball. Not John Belushi.
Chris Farley.
Thank you, Chris Farley. They showed a clip kind of off script, some of the things he did, and just that came out of it.
And then you talk about
cocaine is a hell of a drug too, though. So
like one of the best Christmas movies ever.
yeah, it's
like come on.
The signature Christmas movie for the longest time used to be the Christmas Story, right?
Yeah,
Ralphie.
Yeah.
And this
Which is so
one
good.
now during Christmas, you see Elf playing
baby.
as much, if not more, than a Christmas Story. So I feel that way. I know I feel that way about that movie. It's really good.
And then
It's
there's this other one. It's kind of like a off the radar movie he made, but it's like one of those stupid funny movies, and it's all in Spanish. It's called Casa de mi Padre.
Never heard of it.
If you've never, oh man, it's
Never heard of it, but now I'm curious.
The whole movie he speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
He speaks Spanish.
Yeah, I gotta
it's
see
like
it.
stupid funny.
I gotta see
So,
that.
but yeah, definitely. Will Ferrell, he's on my Mount Rushmore for actors. And again, we can go on and on about the other ones. There's other funnier people, but there's something about this face, you know. Look at that face.
And he's like, I know
Yeah.
for a lot of people, they either love him or hate him.
I don't know anybody who hates him, to be honest.
I mean, I don't like
It's-
him, but that's okay.
That's
Whatever.
fine. But, you know, Night at the Roxbury, Chris Kattan.
It's what he does kind of off the cuff.
Yeah.
It's always blown me away.
So, another fun fact.
Yeah.
If you recall in the movie Old School, you know, he's going streaking down the quads and into the gymnasium. He has a scar.
That's a scar?
Yeah, he has
like
like
a
the scar in
fold.
his stomach. It looks like a fold, right?
Yeah.
I looked it up, and it's actually a surgical scar. It's on his right abdomen, this side, right?
Yeah.
And it was when he had surgery when he was younger.
I thought he was just shaped funny.
Well, I don't know, how do you pronounce it? I wrote it down. It
You
was
can
to
mispronounce
treat pyloric stenosis.
Oh,
And it's
I
a
don't know what that is.
condition that causes frequent vomiting. So he had to get surgery to deal with that.
He did a great scene in Semi-Pro, but he said he's never vomited. And then he had somebody punch him in the jejunum. Now, I don't know if the jejunum is a legit body part, but I remember that, and it made him puke for the first time. Well, that's another great Will Ferrell movie, Semi-Pro, but anyway.
So boom, Will Ferrell. He goes on ours.
Yeah.
Number 2, we both picked this one.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio. He's been nominated so many times for Best Actor, and it wasn't until The Revenant, I think 18?
Yeah, he has. That's his only one.
He's only got one, but he's been nominated for so many different ones, and he finally got it for The Revenant. And if you've never seen The Revenant, you're missing out. It is one of his best movies. I won't say it's his best movie,
No,
because I actually like him in a different role. And one of my top 10 movies of all time is The Departed.
Mm-hmm.
And the character he plays in The Departed, he's an undercover cop from Boston, but he joins this the undercover group, but he joins it in a way where he has to start out in jail. Like, he goes through police academy and then in the scene with Alec Baldwin. No, let me step back. Mark Wahlberg and Martin Sheen. They tell him, hey, you really want to make a difference? Go behind the scenes, you know, undercover. You're going to have to do this, this, and this. but occasionally will check on you. But that role he plays, he joins the Boston mob with Jack Nicholas, and that by far is my favorite character that he plays in The Departed. So I know I won awards, but he didn't win an award for that one. That's one of my favorite characters that he plays, among others.
There's J. Edgar, which is J. Edgar Hoover, the guy that pretty much started the FBI.
Oh, that's right.
He used to spy on everybody, whether constitutional or not. So they couldn't really use a lot of the stuff in court, but they would use a lot of the stuff to blackmail people. Like they recorded.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we know for a fact that Martin Luther King Jr. was a womanizer.
Yeah.
Because they would always bug every hotel room.
He would cheat on his wife. And
Yeah.
You recorded.
Yeah, and they actually before he died, they gave her one of the tapes, and then it came out of the movie Selma. The scene actually, they gave him one of not the video, but just the audio. So the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, gives it to the wife, and the wife listens to it, and then sits down with Martin Luther King Jr. and he listens to it, and he's like, "Yeah, that's not me," and she's like, "Come on, I know what you sound like." You know, like, oh, dang. But then he got assassinated soon after that. But
Yeah.
I'm like, Catch Me If You Can. He's absolutely incredible in, and that's based on a true story. Also, The Revenant, I think, is based on a true story. But as far as who the Mountain Men are, I know there's a section in APUS history in our APUS history classes that I would love to show this movie in that class because it actually shows mountain men and the rendezvous point from St. Louis and how people live. And there's so many things that movie actually fills in as far as me being able to depict it to my AP students. J. Edgar Hoover, I'm going to show it in my regular class when I go over the Palmer raids.
Okay.
I'll show that. But my favorite role from him is Wolf of Wall Street, which
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
know. I did not know until recently it was based on a true story.
Jordan Belfort. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
a stock market
So
guy.
that one, not only him, but I was looking at Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill's played came out in these goofy like Superbad or whatever.
That guy's a national treasure, man.
But he has done some like
he's
what's
good.
he did War Dogs.
He did War Dogs.
But his role in Wolf of Wall Street also is just these guys had me freaking.
Oh,
laughing.
Look Up.
Huh?
Look
Oh
Up.
yeah, Don't Look Up.
Oh, Don't Look
Uh-huh.
Up. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I
good, man.
think they're both in that.
But I mean, for me, Jonah Hill and Superbad.
Yeah. I was actually considering him in the list,
Class.
but it's the other three were just too overwhelming.
Yeah.
As far as including people like Jonah Hill, Meryl Streep, Jack Nicholson, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was pretty close to making it. But anyway,
Fun fact:
talk to me.
when he was 10 years old, his agent he advised him to try to get him to change his name because Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't very Hollywood friendly.
It's like Richie Valenzuela.
Yeah, exactly.
Ricardo Valenzuela.
Yeah, his name's Ricardo Valenzuela. It's like, hey, Richie Valens is more friendly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he tried to change his name to Lenny Williams, and he said, "Nah, I'm good." Imagine that.
Leo DiCaprio's signature. That's wow,
Signature.
That's pretty ballsy of him to hang on to that name. And,
Yeah.
Hey, that's a
Another fun fact:
talk to me.
you ever seen Boogie Nights?
Is
1997. Mark Wahlberg comes out as the lead role for Dirk Diggler. They offered it to DiCaprio first.
Uh-huh.
He turned it down though, so that he could play his role in Titanic. So
That's the movie I feel like he really blew up.
yeah, well, hey, yeah. I mean, he came out another What's Eating Gilbert Grape with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that's
Like,
a big deal.
That was a good one.
But as far as like
Titanic
mainstream, Titanic was
shot,
like,
shot him up to the moon.
everybody was.
Yeah.
These people our age, everybody's seen Titanic.
Yeah,
I don't know about now. We had the experience with
I was in
Yeah.
ninth grade when that movie came out, or either ninth, yeah, something like that. So, yeah, so he almost didn't do Titanic if it wasn't for the timing. So yeah, DiCaprio number 2. He also Django Unchained. Come on.
yeah. His character was insane.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson had to force him to drop the N-word.
N-word.
I know that's
He told him to quit being
some famous there.
a little punk.
Yeah.
So that was kind of part of the scene.
Uh-huh.
So that's number 2. Number 3. Now this is where it gets really good. We both had him, and I think he's on the majority of people lists because of the quality in the characters that he plays. He's won 2 Academy Awards, 2 Oscars, right? And I think he's like the first.
I marked it.
I can't remember.
One for Training Day, one for Glory.
Yes, in the 80s and then in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
Denzel Washington. Denzel, man, he is
Absolute legend.
for sure.
Yeah.
So
some people might debate DiCaprio. I mean, for me, but some people. But it's really hard to debate against Denzel.
yeah,
We're talking from Remember the Titans. The man played Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Have you seen that, by the way?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so good.
Got to be careful with watching that movie.
Yeah, but Malcolm X.
American Gangster.
Yes.
One of the best.
I didn't
gangster movies
even.
I've ever
I
seen.
think we talked about this before. I didn't know there was a black mafia that was so that. You know, typically you think about the American mobster.
They're
Italian.
They discuss that in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even when they go to bust them, they tell the FBI, "Hey, I think this guy's running the heroin ring in New York City," and the FBI guy's like, "You mean to tell me a black guy's running this over the Italians?" He's like, "Yeah." It's like, whatever, dude. Like, nobody wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
And it didn't help that the cop that was trying to bust him was Jewish, so there was that anti-Semitism going on.
Yeah.
I mean, you think that anti-Semitism was new with Kanye or Hitler? No, it's. But anyways, but that movie, American Gangster, if you haven't seen it, it's kind of like a must-see as far as gangster movies. Even though most gangster movies are Italian, and there's a few that are Mexican, right? But this one, and that's such an impact. Because it's a true story.
Yeah.
Such an impact on New York City as far as the corruption. This guy took down, all the corrupt cops in New York City. Him and the cop played by. Why can't I think of it?
I'll give you a second.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
No, Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Thank you.
Crowe.
Another incredible actor.
Yeah. So for me, Training Day. Man, like he was the bad guy.
He was scary.
He was the villain, but you're
was
like
scary.
It was like intriguing to watch him. Like what's he gonna do next? So you kind of like he was like the villain you like to.
Yeah.
I don't know. You almost kind of like were cheering for him in a way, but then you kind of felt bad for
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke's character,
Yeah.
who was the rookie cop and he was
Yeah.
trying to go by the book. I don't know if you're supposed to do
Yeah.
that, but that first scene when they both kind of sit in the car, and he said, "So where's the office at?" And then he basically tells like, "Man, you're in the office." And
Can I cover that? Was it Cutlass?
it was a Monte Carlo, and it's dropped. It's got hydraulics,
hydraulics
and he
on it.
like, and when he says like, "Well, you're in the office," he turns the car on. It's like, "Whoa." And then like Dr. Dre song's like, "Clink, clink, 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 clink."
yeah.
The song plays,
Yeah.
and then they take off, and so.
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke's in there, but that opening scene when both of them, it's like it sets it off, and he's like, he has that cool persona, but you don't realize he's the villain yet until he kind of.
I think like with mid-movie, the dude just becomes scary.
Oh yeah,
Scary, powerful because he had a lot of power in the neighborhood, and since they've come out, like I know, like Anthony Bourdain, they did an episode in L.A. and they actually interviewed a Mexican cop who brought that movie up. And I think we looked it up. The movie isn't based on that particular cop that came out, Anthony Bourdain, but the guy explained it as, a lot of the stuff you see in the movie, I had those experiences as a cop myself, and he got in trouble, put away to prison a little bit. But that cop is based off.
So
you found it.
So in the opening scene when they drive away in the Monte Carlo, the license plates. I saw this as like a random trivia said, it's ORP, Officer. I want to say Rafael Perez. That's the cop that he's like portraying, and then it says 967. I think that's his badge number or something. So the license plates is sort of making reference to the cop his character's portraying in real life. So it was like interesting kind of side note on that, but. I think it was Tom Hanks. He said that when they did the movie Philadelphia, working with Denzel Washington, he said was like going to film school. That he learned so much from just watching Denzel Washington, work, in the previous movie Philadelphia. I think it was '93 when it came out, but he talked about how he was just like a master of his work and just kind of learning the craft. And he's kind of like has a theater background a little bit.
Yeah.
I think so. He definitely goes out as one of the GOATs as well.
As far as some of the scariest characters I've seen on film, That was one of them. Denzel and American Gangster. The other one is Tupac, and the movie was called Juice. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but
Yeah.
man,
Juice.
so the film, like, you can't argue. Oh, it's one of the great films. It's a good movie, but it had its time, like in the earlier mid '90s. I can't remember the year, but man, Tupac was actually a very good actor.
Oh yeah.
Tupac is actually a
Yeah.
very
Well,
good.
he
actor.
went to art school.
Yeah,
You know who he went to school with?
Jada.
Jada Pinkett.
Yeah, I can't believe any of that stuff
Yeah.
is leaked.
Anyways, but I thought he was gonna win for Fences. Have you seen Fences?
Tupac?
No, Denzel.
Oh no.
Yeah, he came out in Fences. Viola Davis won the best
His
actress.
filmography is crazy.
Yeah, Flight. You ever watch Flight, where he's a pilot
No.
and just flips the plane upside down?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not real, but still, it's fun to watch. So, but yeah, number 3 for both of us, Denzel. Now this is where it kind of separates. Your number 4, your 4th guy on your Mount Rushmore for actors.
Which is a trip because this one was my number one, no doubt, slam dunk. Like to me, is the greatest actor of all time, and to me, it's Tom Hanks, the Tom Hanks. Yeah?
Thomas Hanks.
So I mean, we're talking Forrest Gump, right? But before Forrest Gump, like one of my favorite films of Tom Hanks, and you might not have ever heard of it. If you're a little bit older, grew up in the 80s, did. It's called Bachelor Party, which is just
never
a
seen
real
it.
fun movie. And it was the reason why I even wanted to have a bachelor party, which I didn't because when I got married, I was 21 and I had no money. Nobody around me did either. But it's just, man, it's a really fun film. But the one he really got big on was the movie is actually called Big. And then from there,
That one, yeah.
you know, of course, you get the Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan, the British Spies about the U2 incident.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, like as far as writing and directing with Steven Spielberg, some of the roles, some of the things done, he's done The Pacific, the HBO series. Him and Spielberg did The Pacific. They did Band of Brothers. They did Band of Brothers. They did John Adams. All these HBO series things.
Wilson.
Oh,
Oh man,
yeah.
I love that. Castaway.
But like, as far as a history teacher, some of the history stuff he's done, and some of the stuff that I actually use in class,
Oh yeah,
it's been incredibly valuable.
I show Bridge of Spies in my class.
Yeah.
Because of Cold War, spies, the U2 plane incident.
Yeah, people don't know a lot about the U2 spy incident, so
Yeah.
they finally made a movie. And guess who did it? Tom Hanks and Spielberg.
And I like how they show Berlin during the color, like the
the depiction,
the process of getting to the Berlin Wall, and then like the exchange of the prisoner exchange. Oh, okay, I'll give you your guy if you give me my guy on the bridge, and Checkpoint Charlie and all that.
Yeah, but for me, just as far as how versatile Tom Hanks has been from the beginning, just being a freaking goof.
Yeah.
Like not Adam Sandler, but like a goofy Adam Sandler, like just goofy characters he played in the early years, and become the serious actor he did later. Of course, he did. Did he do Philadelphia? He did Philadelphia. Oh, there you go.
So,
because
Philadelphia?
he won.
He's the second actor
Oscars
of
in
all
Philadelphia
time
and Forrest Gump.
to win an Oscar in back-to-back years. In '93, he won for Philadelphia, and in '94, Forrest Gump.
Wow.
And so he's only this. I don't know who the first guy is. I can't remember his name, but he's the second actor ever to go back-to-back years, winning an Oscar, Best Actor. So, fun fact: he lost 30 pounds to play his role in Philadelphia. He's really thin. His
character had AIDS.
His character had AIDS, and then for his role in Castaway, he gained and then lost 55 pounds. Because at the beginning of the movie, he's kind of
healthy,
kind of fuller, and then he's on the island.
So I think they
he had to
filmed.
lose 55 pounds.
I think they filmed the beginning and the end of the movie first. Was that movie? And then they allowed him to lose all the weight, and then they did the middle of the movie. It was something like that, I thought.
Okay.
But
So,
anyway,
I mean, just to lose that much weight, and I can't even lose 10 pounds.
it's hard enough to act.
Now act after losing all
Gaining weight.
Yeah,
it's a lot harder.
That's a special talent to kind of drop that much. You know who's done that multiple times is Christian Bale. Like dramatic, just like super weight loss, and that takes a toll on your body. But definitely Tom Hanks is
Christian Bale's amazing himself.
Yeah.
Ford versus Ferrari. Have you seen that?
No. American Hustle though, he comes out now.
It's just, I mean, we're talking. This was really hard to do, and anyways, I was really hard to narrow down mine, and I have a bunch of like I created a big list. Meryl Streep and Leslie Nielsen for comedy, but anyways, narrowed it down to these four, and it's really tough for me to do. But so,
Forrest Gump is my favorite
Uh-huh.
Tom Hanks character,
yeah,
and I showed Forrest Gump
Given.
in at the end of the year,
yeah,
so
it covers everything.
Yeah. My number 4, and this one was tough. Not tough to choose him, but it was between him and another because one of my favorite
You asked me, and I couldn't decide.
I know, and I was like, I have to have one of these two. And I have to have one of these guys represent
gangster
the
movie
genre.
genre.
Yeah, I like this. This is
So
my
you
favorite
love those
genre.
movies, huh?
So they both came out in one of my favorite movies, The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
They both came out in Heat. They've come out together in several. The Irishman. It's a long movie, but it's
The absolute iconic one,
yes.
and this is why I was leaning. This guy was Scarface.
Al Pacino.
Yeah.
So this year's he won his award for Scent of a Woman. But Al Pacino, for me, like when I think of like my favorite genres, like The Godfather, obviously is like one of the most. It's always often like one of the top movies ever, right? But my favorite movie he comes out in is in Donnie Brasco, and he's not even even the main character.
Yeah,
Johnny Depp is.
He's kind of a life is passing him by type gangster.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
And like he finds
He
young,
becomes a weak link.
yeah, and he finds this young guy up and coming, and he just kind of like gravitates towards him.
Johnny
Depp,
a young Johnny
and
Depp.
it's based on a true story.
Johnny Depp didn't win anything for that either.
Not
But
that I remember.
Johnny Depp was incredible.
Yeah, he was awesome in this movie, but he plays Lefty in this movie, and it just kind of like it. You watch it, and you feel like kind of, there's certain movies where you kind of get attached to the characters, right? Like
I was attached to his. I feel bad for
and
him.
you
Yeah.
feel bad for him. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, like because in real life, that's what
It's a true
Johnny
story.
Brasco had to do. Yeah, it's a true story.
So what's cool about movies like that, and
He's an undercover agent for the FBI.
Actually, in the series Nautical, they base the whole thing of the writing off the same thing as a bunch of FBI files. So like time and date and everything, like the accuracy is crazy. So Donnie Brasco was one of them because Donnie Brasco
Joey Paterno, I think. Oh, not Paterno.
was
Joey,
Johnny Depp's real name.
Yeah, his real name, but
Yeah.
he's in witness protection.
Yeah.
There is if you ever go to Vegas, there's a museum down by Fremont Street. It's like one street over, I think,
Yeah.
and it's an old federal court building.
Uh-huh.
They've turned that federal court building into a museum. It's called a Mob Museum, and it's 3 stories. The third floor is more of like the history of like the wave of immigrants coming from like Europe, and it kind of highlights the different neighborhoods that were created because of all this wave of immigrants that came over. And how in these neighborhoods in New York and Philadelphia and Chicago,
Every major city.
every
small
major
city.
you saw like the collection of groups, like you're gonna go to where you're familiar with, right? And so you have like
those combination of that and
Little
the city
Italy.
design things that way too.
you have Little Italy, you
Yeah.
have Chinatown, etc., whatever.
Hey, you don't know English. Where are you gonna go? I'm Italian. I only speak Italian. I'm gonna go move the Italian.
Oh,
neighborhood.
look, there's a Catholic church. I'm gonna go in this
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Where am I gonna work? Oh, you know what? I only speak Italian. There's a bunch of Italians that work in that factory, and then of course
So-
learn English, and then these are like the difficulties of it.
So it kind of highlights that aspect of
Yeah.
America, right?
That's cool.
And then the second floor, it starts to kind of gravitate towards Vegas and how in the history of Vegas and how these mob groups from different parts of the country, Kansas City.
The movie Casino highlights this.
There you go. And then it talks about how the mafia played a major role
Yeah.
in all of these.
Oh yeah.
And then it goes into the mob, the mafia, and all. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first floor, it's the last one. It goes into more like the investigative side of trying to take down the mob, right?
Yeah.
So it highlights the CIA, the FBI, and like the different types of equipment they use to kind of tackle them. And it kind of highlights Donnie Brasco in it, and it
That's
kind
cool,
of
man.
comes full circle with with this movie and how the different things they had to do to stay undercover and try to take down different members of the mafia. So if you ever go to Vegas, the Mob Museum is highly recommended. It's amazing, a lot of history, but there's a lot of cool stuff on there as far as Hollywood, because they talk about The Godfather, and there's this little section when it has like a video. They show like a little video reel about Donnie Brasco and the real Donnie Brasco, and he had to change his name now as witness protection. And so I don't know, that is one of my favorite roles that he plays, even though he's not he's the supporting actor. I just that movie for me, as well as Scarface.
Scarface is just iconic.
Irishman.
Yeah, I remember they used to have the show MTV Cribs. Like in everybody's house, somebody had a painting or a picture of Scarface. I mean, it's Scarface. Yeah. And
if you've ever seen, remember we talked about how they made a series about the making of The Godfather? It's called The Offer. Originally, the bigwigs, they didn't want Al Pacino, but Francis Ford Coppola really wanted him on there, and he had to basically fight for him to stay on, or he basically was going to say, I'm not going to make this movie unless I get him. And he was not a mainstream name yet. He was, up and comer, but he definitely fought for him. And so, who knows what that movie would be if it was somebody different?
Yeah,
we don't know. But
because even in the movie Scarface, he definitely seemed like an unsophisticated actor. So again, Scarface is just iconic.
Yeah.
So as far as you get down to really good roles, that does make sense why initially they don't want to pick him. So
he's one of 3 actors to receive Oscar nominations for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor in the same movie. So he was a supporting actor in Godfather 1. Yeah. He won an award for that. And in The Godfather 2, he was the main actor. He won an award for that. Yeah. So I think Sylvester Stallone's another one for Rocky. Yeah. He got nominated for Best Actor. Yeah. And then Rocky 5 or Creed. It's sort of the Rocky series. He's a supporting actor. He got nominated.
The fact that he wrote all those is ridiculous.
But he's the only one to win supporting actor and best actor for the same movie, but they're 2 different movies. Yeah. So, little fun fact, Al Pacino there. So, So those are our Mount Rushmore of actors. I mean, there's so many people you can throw on there, but hey, these are ours. I'm not going to go into that rabbit hole anymore and I'm going to get lost.
Is there people that I'm watching the movie and I'm so caught up and I'm glued, and who has me glued to the screen in different movies more than anybody else? And I think you went with similar criteria. So you could say, who won the most Oscars, or who won the most awards, who did this? And I mean, you've had a legitimate argument. The point is, again,
they've all won Oscars.
Feel free to leave in the comments.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah, and why? Because nobody gives love to the comedians.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Unless you're Jim Carrey. He's won awards. But anyway,
really?
Yeah. What's the best thing you've seen all week, puppy?
Best thing I saw all week. All right, I wrote a couple things down, right? So one was, I teach AP Government, and there was a student who came to me and was worried about, I guess the family is worried about them taking AP Government. Like, how are they trying to skew your politics, right? And what bias are they portraying on you? And I take a lot of pride in that. So with teaching AP Government, and even when I used to teach regular government, one of the first things I printed out for them and allowed them to use on all the tests is, get this,
Constitution.
The actual United States Constitution. Yeah. So I actually sit there and I make copies of it and I let them annotate it and stuff like that. These are mine, and I'll go through it. It's the actual U.S. Constitution. So, and I always say, that's in this class during this hour. That is the Bible, the United States Constitution. Yeah. And so, what are you? Are you lean Democrat? Are you lean Republican? I was like, I'm a constitutionalist. I lean that way. Yeah. Oh, do you agree with Electoral College? I'm like, well, yeah, founding fathers agreed upon that. The only day I'll disagree with the Electoral College if they ever write an amendment or some law to get rid of it. That's the only day, just as long as it aligns with the Constitution. So, that was one thing. Going through the other one. Go for it.
Best thing I've seen all week. I recently saw the acceptance speech at the Golden Globes. Eddie Murphy wins this award, and he's giving a speech and all that, and he turns and for any of you guys who's just starting out in the game, and basically I got the blueprint for success. I got it figured out. To be successful, you need these 3 things.
One, pay your taxes.
He says, pay your taxes, because obviously he's been busted for not paying his taxes, right? 2, mind your business. And 3, keep Will Smith's name out your mouth.
Keep Will Smith's wife's name out your mouth.
Oh yeah, Will Smith's wife's name out your mouth.
Which was interesting because,
oh my god, it was so
like
good.
you're taking a shot at Will Smith, but I was talking to you later about this. Like he's actually taking a shot at Chris Rock
himself.
It was
himself.
Yeah. And great comedians that they're very good at that, downplaying how important they are. Richard Pryor, always did that. Of course, Adam Sandler, all these movies, he kind of craps on himself. Yeah.
But I thought it was funny because it was like the most recent, like Golden Globes is a big deal in Hollywood, in TV and movies, and this was like the first big ceremony since Will Smith's moment with Chris Rock and slapped him and all that. So at first everybody's like oh, and then they kind of like it was a laughable moment, and he's friends with both of them, so he can do that.
Well,
he can do that.
He's a god. You know what's funny about him being? You think about these Chris Rocks and these Dave Chappelle's and these like that. Of course, Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is big. I think he's 21 or 22. Eddie Murphy's delirious, just a god as far as comedy goes, and he attributes a lot of the credit to Richard Pryor. And I always remember, way before Bill Cosby got busted for anything, Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy would always talk crap about it. Like they did not like Bill Cosby, so they called it before anybody, which is super interesting.
Yeah, but just kind of watching that speech, it was funny.
Throw a shout out.
Oh yeah.
To the yearbook for So I guess
yearbook club.
We got an email, and then I think I took a screenshot and sent it to you because I didn't think you've seen it yet. And like, dude, they want to put us in the yearbook. And like,
why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of like students, part of a club that started their own podcast.
And we got interviewed at the beginning of the year. They just
cool.
haven't released the episode yet.
Yeah,
I think they
so
said.
that's pretty cool. Shout out to the what's the coalition of
Miss Dubois, Miss Dubose, everybody calls it. Yeah, Dubose.
So shout out to the yearbook club. They're doing a thing on podcasts this year, so good for them. But I think that's a good spot to end, right? Who are your Mount Rushmore of actors? We'd like to hear from some of you. See what you think about ours. Who are yours? Yeah. Drop it in the comments. Boom. Another one. See you guys next time.